I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Thank you for joining this weather community, taking the time to subscribe. All right, let's get right to a couple areas watching this spot near Louisiana, on track from what we talked about yesterday. Now I'm going to zoom down here. Big rain totals on the way, and then I'll be shifting my attention over toward what's going on to the east of the Caribbean. There are a couple strong tropical waves, but one in particular I'm going to monitor for some signs of development as we get into the weekend and into next week. At the least, we're going to see a bigger chance of rain moving into parts of the Caribbean, with it a chance of some flooding. So we expect it to get more active this time of year. Know that I'm watching everything. If anything does try to spin up, I will let you know first right here on this channel. I'll let you know where something's going, but also where something is not going, because I know it could be it is a high anxiety time of the year when we're tracking weather together. Now, watching a few showers and storms near Haiti, the DR. There's been a couple near Jamaica. Some spots we've been so dry. Same thing in Belize. We've been too dry, but we are about to see the pattern flip with a better chance of rain building later this month into next week. And keeping an eye on this area near Guyana, that will slide in some extra moisture toward Trinidad, parts of Guyana, and Venezuela over the next couple days. But look at this. So we have this little pocket here of some of that rain, some storms, not organized. But then we swing out here. This stronger tropical wave, I do believe, is going to hang together and with it start to work across. I'll monitor for development. Models are hinting at development, but not huge signs of it. But either way, as this eventually moves in at about 4 or 5 days from now, that is going to really increase our chance of rain, especially in the southeastern Caribbean, and then bigger tropical waves that will be coming off the coast of Africa that the models are hinting at development. Now, first, we have some of the dust around. So first the dust, and then we'll be watching the tropical waves. Here's the dust that's moving in today to Puerto Rico, U.S. British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla. Then the dust tomorrow, and then let me stop it here. This is Saturday. Kind of spreads across. The purples, not a ton of dust. Where I showed you some of the kind of yellows popping up, that's a little bit thicker. So eventually we'll start to lose some of the dust as we work our way into the weekend. And then we draw our attention to what's going on back toward the east. So let me show you the European model. This is the European model the next 10 days. It's still showing tropical depression, at least the development of that possible, but it's very low at this chance near Louisiana. But that's why you're seeing this blob up here. It's picking up on that spin we've been tracking together for days and days. Not a whole lot in the Caribbean itself, but this is new, and this is what I've been watching the last few days, just seeing the chances of development going higher. Not super high, right? But you see some of the brighter colors starting to pop up. The European model is saying, hey, maybe a 40% chance of some development out of these tropical waves over the next 10 days. As they approach the Caribbean, conditions should be a little bit less conducive for development, which is a good thing, but I need to monitor that because the water temperatures are so very warm, and they're warming up. Of course, we've been watching that near the northern Gulf, but fortunately that spin stayed over land, so it didn't develop as much, but unfortunately we're dealing with a lot of the rain, which I'll show you parts of Louisiana and Mississippi. But the water temperatures have ticked up in the Eastern Caribbean. So anything that slides in does at least have the chance of some development. But again, got you covered right here watching that. So let me start with that. I'll show you these tropical waves that will be heading in that big increase in some of the rain. To start, this is actually some dust moving in through here. Very spotty showers. I mentioned Jamaica, Belize, just for example, the couple spots that we actually need to get some rain. Some of us have gotten some storms, but just not a lot. Let's go out in time here as we work our way into tomorrow, into the weekend. We'll start to see things really building as we work our way into Saturday. You could see the rain building. Parts of the southeastern Caribbean, there's the bigger wave popping up. A little bit more hit or miss back through Haiti, the DR, Puerto Rico, and then Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. While the rain chance has been down a little bit, it's going to start to build again. This here is by Sunday. Then look at Sunday. These brighter colors showing that stronger tropical wave that is getting closer, and then a bit more active, spotty showers and storms. Still not widespread for us in the northern Caribbean, but we'll have some more showers and thunderstorms around. Then by Monday, you can see it here, watching this area for any signs of development. I want to flip over and show you the icon model in just a second, but this here is by Tuesday. I mentioned 5 days from now, we see this tropical wave moving in. Now, it may shift a little bit more to the north, a little bit more to the south as far as the rain with it is concerned, but giving it a heads up, somewhere in the eastern and particular southeastern southeastern Caribbean, we could see that flood threat getting higher by about Tuesday. So giving you the early heads up that things are going to get more active. Not that there's anything huge coming at us, but of course we don't need a named system to give us the flooding. You can see it there. The potential of rain is going to be higher as we work our way into next week. Now, here's the icon model, which I like to use because it does a good job kind of finding a circulation. It did a good job finding that area back in the northern Gulf. Of course, it then tried to develop it a little bit too much, but that was a tricky area as I showed you. But here we are in the Caribbean, high pressure and control, so these tropical waves sliding in. This model not showing a ton of development, but you could see a few extra spots of rain. This here is by Saturday, starting to work into parts of the southeastern Caribbean. But watching this spot out here in more tropical waves, coast of Africa is here. I know this map's a little bit different, but let's go out in time here further as we work our way through the weekend. So this is Saturday. This here is Sunday. As we work our way into Sunday and stopping it here, you could see right here, this is that strong tropical wave that I mentioned. Almost all the models are seeing that. It's out there now and still seeing it. Slight chance of development out of that, but then you see it kind of marching across. No big signs of development, at least on the icon model. But by the time we get into Tuesday, this is Tuesday, like I just showed you on the American model, you see this area of rain. This is what I'll watch for any development, but also the possibility of some flooding, and then back behind it, getting more active as we have more tropical waves to watch. Common for this time of year, but I'm going to be watching very closely where these tropical waves go, because where they go, there will be a flood threat. And then secondly, the water temperatures have really warmed, as is typical in July. So if anything tries to spin up quickly, and we've seen that the last few years, I got you covered. I'll give you the advanced warning. Here's a sample just the next few days. Trinidad, for example, you could see a little more moisture around this white shading. That would be 100 millimeters of rain, but over the next 3 days. But as we work our way into next week, we're going to see some of the rain totals certainly shooting up. I'll slide back to that in a second, but let me just cover this as well. What we've been watching, this area right near parts of Louisiana. Here's Mississippi. No big signs of development. That moisture, though, tomorrow, it's still around, so additional rain totals, additional flooding, and then that moisture gets sucked up kind of to the north where there will be a severe weather threat. I'll expand that out in just a moment, but all of the modeling showing that center of this area, the spin kind of coming on shore right near New Orleans and then working its way up. Now, there's a million models. They're computers. These just are kind of out of whack, but you can see all of the strength on these. Ignore the ones way down the road. Just the next couple of days that stay way below any big substantial system. Should be out of time for development. Can't rule out a brief tropical depression, but it's pulling on shore. Development chance very low. But the issue, like we talked about yesterday, the rain over the next 3 days, you see some of the spots with this black and almost red shading in there. That's an additional 6, 7, 8 inches of rain. Sometimes the models are underdone. They don't do a good job picking up at how much rain certain tropical systems could bring. There's going to be substantial rain in through here. Watching that, you get over toward Houston and Beaumont, it does look like most of this action will be staying off toward the east, but also feeding up toward parts of Mississippi. You could see that moisture just building. So watching out for that high chance of rain. No doubt it's already there, very wet. Monitoring some of the flooding today. I'll be watching your comments. Let me know what's going on where you are. So here's this spot here, but also watch over toward Quebec, moving into New Brunswick. Bigger storms even tonight. Heads up as we approach the Atlantic region of Canada. Watching out for scattered areas of rain by the Four Corners here. Bermuda, I'll keep an eye on how close some of this rain gets. We have been so dry in Bermuda. There's that area tonight into tomorrow, moving over toward Newfoundland. And then you see over here, there's Bermuda with some showers and storms, but scattered about in parts of the mid-Atlantic again. As what's left of this tropical disturbance slides in, that'll increase the chance of rain and that flood threat. Parts of the mid-Atlantic, some stronger storms possible. Still in New Mexico, that flood threat, and watching Mexico proper. But then you see a lot of this moisture pulling through parts of Quebec, again approaching the Atlantic region of Canada, parts of New England. Eventually by Sunday, a better chance of rain. This in here, some of this could be severe, but also that flood threat up in these parts, and watching this over toward the Four Corners. So really busy pattern. Now, getting back to the wave heights, and then I want to show you the rain totals. You see, as we swing back through the Caribbean, as I showed you yesterday, the next few days, the wave heights are going to be on the choppier side. But just a heads up, I want to get into Monday and Tuesday of next week. The Atlantic passageways are going to be building some just because of that stronger tropical wave that will be moving in. Now, of course, we covered this, the high rain totals in this sector right here. I zoomed down into that. Not quite as much as you get toward the Bahamas and Florida. this in through here, spotty showers and storms. It's just one of those things. If we get one, we could get 50 millimeters of rain in some locations. Same thing back through Puerto Rico. But we also have that dust that's moving in today over towards Ceiba, back through Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Martinique, some of that dust that will be with us. Dominica South, not a ton of rain back through St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but some of that moisture trying to creep in the next few days back toward Trinidad. Barbados, St. Lucia, our rain chance is not super high, but you see over toward Guyana, and then watching that, those bigger tropical waves out there in the Atlantic, that's some of the rain that will be headed our way. And then eventually, I mentioned Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, the rain chance is going to start to build. So we'll get some spots running over 100 millimeters of rain. Belize, we're still looking at kind of hit or miss. We may get a couple showers popping up. Western end of Mexico, higher chance of rain. Merida, Campeche, Cancun, Cozumel, that rain chance not nearly as high as you get toward the Yucatan. There's that spot lifting up toward Mississippi. And then watching over toward parts of the Tennessee River Valley, Tennessee, North Carolina, some heavier totals with thunderstorms over the next few days. So Jamaica, we have a 40% chance of some showers and storms. Cayman Islands, we're running on the low side still. Can't rule out a stray chance of a shower, but you see that rain chance building by Saturday as we work our way into Trinidad and Tobago up to a 60% chance. Meanwhile, at least today, rain chance very low for us in Barbados, staying on the relatively low side in the short term back through St. Lucia. Building some though in Grenada by the time we get into the weekend with a first tropical wave starting to work in. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 40% chance by Saturday. We're mainly dry today in Martinique. Slight chance, 20 to 30% chance of a shower. In Dominica, 20% chance in Guadeloupe today with some of that dust around, and we have some of that dust around. Antigua, Barbuda, rain chance only 20% tomorrow and Saturday. Same thing, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat. Rain chance stays limited today, Anguilla and St. Bart's. The next couple of days, a 20% chance, St. Martin, Sabin, Statia, with some of the dust, but I am watching some thunderstorms mixed into some of the dust back through Puerto Rico. Be mindful of some of the lightning, hit or miss shower storm, U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Rain chance holding at about 30 to 40% through the Bahamas, down from what we've had the last few days. 20% chance in the Turks and Caicos. Dominican Republic, storm threat will start to build once the dust starts to move out. Same thing as we work our way into Haiti. Mainly dry today, but we're up to about a 40% chance by Saturday. And you see Belize, our rain chance still staying low. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, rain chance generally on the low side over the next few days, where it is on the high side back through Guyana with that chance of some flooding we will monitor. 60 to 70% chance back through Suriname. Scattered areas of thunderstorms, central and eastern zones back through Cuba, a better chance. And there's that rain chance building. Costa Rica and Panama by Saturday, we're back up to a 70% chance of the wet weather. Nicaragua, 40% chance, and a 30 to 40% chance the next couple of days in Honduras. 30 to 40% chance as well. Guatemala and El Salvador. Mexico City, some of that rain around, watching out for some areas of flooding. Only a 30% chance in the Yucatan Peninsula. 40% chance northern Colombia. 50 to 60% chance northern Venezuela, and the rain chances I showed you earlier getting higher for Bermuda. Some of that rain may finally clip us by. So larger tropical waves in the Atlantic that have my attention, that I am watching, tracking the dust first, but it's going to be a more active end of July, which is kind of typical. I'll monitor for any signs of development, still watching the northern Gulf as well with some of that heavier rain. So a busier pattern ahead. Got you covered right here. Thank you for being part of this weather community. Have a wonderful day ahead.